And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Lockie Balboa. That's Tom Fernelli. That's Danny Cannell. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson, coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3. Thanks to all of you that are joining in on the conversation as we go ahead and give you these locks for week 13. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. This will be our opportunity before Thursday hits to be able to check in and give you all the winners for the weekend. A little bit of a different schedule. So again, we appreciate everyone who is in there. Smash that like button. Okay. I'm going to remind you again, but we do have some Sportsline subscriptions to give away, and the number's got to be a little bit higher than where it's at. We begin, as we always do, with a very brief review of the week that was. First, Tom, it was a 5-4 week. The wins include UNITY, UCLA getting it done on a gut check Saturday. Tom is in on that Latifo victory. The Clemson Wake Forest over 56.5, the under 65 and Cincy SMU, the Tulsa -21, North Texas -10. The losses were the under 56.5 in Miami, Virginia Tech, Michigan State +19.5. That would be a bar fight loss for Chip and Tom against Danny, and Iowa State +4 against Oklahoma. 5-4 for the week, 66-50 for the season. Tom, any thoughts on the week that was?
I'm happy that at least two of the losses were total blowouts, so they don't really hurt. Like it's one thing when you get one wrong and it's off by like a point and you miss out and you sit there and you sweat it out the entire time and you're like, damn it. It's another thing when you miss by like a billion, because then even though you missed, you can just say, well, yeah, I was still right. That was just an outlier.
Best way to lose. You don't even sweat it. You're just you're snapping clear. We're moved on to the next one. Was Tulsa and North Texas a double? Were those both quit plays?
Oh yeah. And
Tom in his bag with the quit plays.
Thank you, Temple and FIU, for putting in the exact amount of effort I expected you to.
And so be sure to keep an eye on if we've got more quit plays coming up. Chip, 4-4 on the week. The wins include Virginia +14.5, the UCLA -3, the Oregon-Utah first half under 28.5, the Clemson Wake Forest over 56.5, lost on Michigan State +19.5, lost on Texas +3.5, lost on Kansas State -0.5, and lost on Illinois-Iowa going under 38.5. I get what I deserve dancing with Texas football. That is my fault. I knew what I was doing. And like so many bad decisions, you can identify it the next morning. You're like, I know exactly where that night went south, and it went with Texas. 4-4 overall, 52-54 for the season. And again, we're trying to finish this regular season locks year at around 500, pushing the money around. Danny, it was a 7-5 week. It was the best performance of the week. Spraying the board. The wins included the bar fight win, Ohio State -19. You also got in on the Oregon-Utah first half under 28.5 and the UCLA -3. Cash in Miami -7.5. The under 69.5 in Florida-Mizzou. Nebraska +9. Kansas +21.5. The losses were the total in Louisville-Duke. I believe that was a Thursday night game. And then Bama-Arkansas under 58.5. Liberty -4 got run by Louisiana. Wisconsin-Nebraska under 42. And Arizona State -3. 7-5, pretty good. Brings you up to 60-54 for the season. Thoughts on the week that was, DK?
Solid week. I like the spray the board mentality, although my money line sprinkles have been atrocious and I hate it. So I might dial it back on those and keep spraying the board with these selections.
Boy, we'll get to money line sprinkles at the end of the show, but my bag is up. I am ready to get out here and throw some money around after cashing 3 of these suckers. Bud, the spray the board king, 8-6 on the week. The wins included the lock fight win against Danny on the Louisville-Duke total. The been just sort of standing on an island for a lot of these. One, the Oklahoma-Iowa State under 59.5, Clemson -4, Kansas State, Baylor under 50.5, Kent State, Akron under 75, Colorado +7, the Kansas TCU under 65.5, Marshall team total over 38.5. The losses, the Air Force Nevada under 52.5, Oregon +3.5, San Diego State UNLV under 41.5, the Auburn South Carolina over 44.5, and Middle Tennessee -3.5, and Rice team total under 19.5. Thoughts?
Probably about the right record that I deserve there at 8-6. Air Force Nevada under 52.5, brutal beat going to triple overtime. But also I feel like I was lucky to win Colorado +7. Colorado had like 140 yards of offense up until the very end of that game. And that was, it's one of those ones where like you get a 7-point dog that wins outright and you go back and you look at it and you say, you know what? I got lucky there. I was the wrong side. But I'll take it, especially after that Thursday night loss with that overtime stuff. Again, it's like 3 weeks in a row I've gotten on the wrong side of overtime for an under.
For the, and that was Friday night, you said Air Force Nevada?
Yeah.
Woo. Late night Friday. I'm telling y'all, beware of those Friday night games. They'll break your heart and they'll wreck your sleep. Anyway, we turn the page. Week 13, rivalry week on deck. Gentlemen, y'all ready to lock it up?
Let's do it.
We're picking locks.
My blue plate special 5-star locks are coming.
Since 2005, when Service Academy's
Come get these locks. 5-star master lock. Lock it up.
The under is 33-9-1. We've gone over it a million times.
You want these locks?
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
All right, let's begin for the early birds. We got a lot of Friday action, and we want to make sure we get that because, listen, there's going to be different times where the listeners are chiming in and getting this. So we start with Thursday. 2 games, Fresno State, San Jose State, that game in the afternoon, and the Egg Bowl in the nightcap, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Does anybody have any turkey plays on Thursday? Give me Mississippi State. Did y'all hear those friendly comments from Lane Kiffin? He said, "I'm serious." Like he
why do we hate each other? It was like the love fest, right?
Yeah,
well, it's just football. We love each other.
I don't think that anyone should hate anyone else. This is just a game. It's just something we want to go out there and break a good sweat, and we want to run that turkey off. I listen. Mississippi State is favored by 1.5 at home against this now number 9 Ole Miss team. And I think that Mississippi State, going into this, playing in Starkville with it is not just the Lane Kiffin play here. I think these are 2 comparable teams. I think that Mississippi State is a good enough football team to be able to win the game. And if we're going to go vibes as a tiebreaker during rivalry week, I'm fading. Listen, if Lane Kiffin threw up a red herring to get me and a bunch of other dummies and normies to go chase the bait and Ole Miss is going to come out and just run the table and win by 30, well, then I hope it is a blowout by the end of the first half so that I can fall asleep. But if this thing gets tight, I like the home team in the Egg Bowl to come up with a few more answers. Do we have any Dennis plays here?
We do, actually.
Right. So anyway, I am locking up Mississippi State -1.5.
All right. Yeah, we can get you 1 there. Nice. Okay, so the Dennis play. Thursday marks the 2-year anniversary of the infamous Piss and Miss, or the Great Dennis Middle for the longtime listeners of Cover 3. Not to be confused with the Polish Middle. Guys, we're talking about well, never mind. All right. The lead up to that game felt very similar to this year's Egg Bowl. Ole Miss seems to have the better team, but has to play in Starkville. The game just feels like it is going to go down to the wire, and something crazy will determine the outcome. So I'm not real confident on the side with such a low spread, so I'm going to focus on the total. The under has hit in 8 of the last 10 Egg Bowls, and the Ole Miss unders this year are 8 of 10, not including Austin Peay. Everything about this game screams under, including the potential rain and cold weather. But my gut won't let me do it. My gut just keeps telling me this game is going to be more like the Ole Miss-Arkansas or Tennessee game. Overtime, caution vibes. So for no reason other than gut feel, I'll take the over 62.
I'm gonna lock up with Chip.
All right.
Ole Miss defense, I mean, that's what Will Rogers has done is pretty fantastic. I mean, Mike Leach, there were a lot of critics. I wonder how this air raid will work. I think we can all agree it's working, especially against the teams not named Alabama. I think they have some success throwing the football. I know the weather's supposed to be a little bit dicey, but I'm going to go ahead and take the home team here with the Cowboys. I think it's a little bit, I think Ole Miss feeling great about this season. They weren't great against Vanderbilt, which I'm still mad at myself for not taking Vandy in the 35 last week. I actually took it while I was watching the games, but I was mad I didn't take it in one of our locks. But I'm curious to see what mental state Lane Kiffin is in. Like, where is his brain at right now? They're feeling really good about themselves, like almost like this season's been an accomplishment. It's already in the books. And I think Mississippi State would love nothing more than to tack on one more win and beat a team that everybody's been talking about, and no one's talking about Mississippi State.
The one real worry I have here, I'm going to be live betting this game. I think it'll be pretty fun to do. And I agree it could be pointsy. Mississippi State's defense does give up explosive plays like a lot. And that's kind of how Ole Miss would prefer to attack. Most people are playing them with a lot of the drop 8 stuff this year, and Corral has run the ball fairly effectively in those situations. I'll be quick here because I'm not actually going to lock anything up. I worry that Ole Miss has been playing possum with some of these injuries in the last couple of weeks. They've been playing a bunch of teams they knew they could beat, right? Liberty's offense sucks. They had their FCS game. They had their game against Vanderbilt. And I just wonder, like, how many of these guys have they been sitting and maybe not running Corral as much as they possibly could because they knew they'd win those ball games. So for me, I'm going to wait and play this live when I see who's actually in the lineup. And I'm a little scared because my numbers would say maybe Mississippi State, but I'm going to wait.
I would also play it live just for the one fact that, like, Danny, you mentioned the weather. Like, at the start of the game, there's a pretty decent chance it'll be raining a little bit, and the winds will be about 5 miles an hour. But the current forecast says by the time the second half is starting, the rain will have probably stopped, but the winds will be up to about 12 to 13 miles per hour. So second half under might be in play.
That's not quite Wonder Siren, but at least it's a notable increase that should definitely be taken into consideration. We got a lot of games on Friday. It begins with Boise State and San Diego State on CBS, a game that you can watch on America's Most Watched Network, the Network of Stars, as well as CBSSports.com. I will be on the – we got pregame show? Danny, Tom?
Oh, yeah. I'll be in there.
Friday.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be in New York for not the big CBS, but the other CBS Sports Network games. But we'll be back on Saturday.
Okay. All right. Good. I think I might be hosting that.
Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah. Hope my flight's on time because last week my flight was delayed and I missed the show. So you might be really flying solo.
I got to do an extra
Saturday.
Block.
Yeah. Boise State, San Diego State, Kansas State, Texas, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Ohio, Bowling Green. That one on CBS Sports Network. Utah State, New Mexico, Iowa-Nebraska, UTEP, UAB, Cincinnati, ECU, Missouri, Kansas. That game also on CBS, a doubleheader right there. USF against UCF, the war on I-4, Coastal Carolina, South Alabama, UNLV-Air Force, Colorado, Utah, TCU, Iowa State, North Carolina, NC State, and the Apple Cup, Washington State, Washington. I imagine we've got some Friday plays here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Danny, you had, I guess you were up 1.5 unit to Bud's 1.4. So you've got the honors on the tee box for these Friday games.
All right. I'll go ahead and start it off at 1:30. Iowa playing Nebraska. Nebraska's been so close all year long. So close. One possession games. I know Adrian Martinez is out. Does he matter that much? Like, this might be an opportunity for somebody else to kind of take the reins here. I think Nebraska gets it done. I'm going to take the 1.5. But I think they might actually win this game. The one thing that's been impressive is this team has fought every single time they've taken the field. It's at home. Iowa, I don't think there's something that puts a lot of fear in you. Nebraska's defense, I think, should be able to stop them. I would lean towards the under, but it's already pretty low, so I'm going to stay away from that one. It's just 41. But I'm going to go ahead and take Nebraska. I'm going to say they get that reward finally in a tight game, get the win at home for Scott Frost. Bring a little bit of positivity into an offseason.
Do you want to hear something crazy, Danny?
What?
For the first time all year, my numbers literally made a spread 0.0.
So in that case,
I thought that was pre That was pre-Taylor Martinez. So I bet Iowa at open because they were giving me 3. I was like, yeah, it's Nebraska. They'll find a way to screw this up. I think the number should be Iowa 2, so I'm going to pass on it now. Like, Martinez is not good. He's not horrendous, but he's not good enough to move his spread at 4 points, I don't think. I just think the initial spread was off.
Danny might be too afraid to take the under, but I'm not. I'm going to take the under 41.5 because I do think there's probably a drop off between Adrian Martinez and the backup situation, or else Adrian Martinez probably would have lost his starting job. So I don't know how much the Nebraska offense is going to do, especially against this Iowa defense. And Iowa's offense is still Iowa's offense. And the Nebraska defense, as we've seen, it's pretty good. So give me the under 41.5.
All right. Bud, what about what do you like on Friday? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. I got a couple things here. I'm gonna save that one for a sprinkle. I'm gonna go ahead and play. I'm gonna play Kansas State at Texas. I don't get this line movement. I understand that Kansas State's quarterback might be out. I've seen this offense without him. I've also seen Texas play football this year. There's one unit in this game that I trust. It is Kansas State's defense. They've been extremely good down the stretch. They were actually pretty damn good last week. Baylor scored on drives that resulted from a drop punt and then I think a turnover in their own zone. Both Texas quarterbacks are banged up. So go ahead and give me Kansas State +3 here.
I mean, somebody said in the chat, what's going on with this Texas line? I guess this is definitely injury on either side. I mean,
who do you trust?
They're trying to
Chris Kleiman or Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, they're trying to get me back in, and I know better. No way.
Longhorns 0-2 against Sunflower State this year. Lock it up.
Love it. Let's go ahead and go to Greenville. I mean, we talked. We've been out here saying that. But you posed it. You said, "Hey, like I understand. You know, Utah is its entire profile, and that's why it's ranked where it is. But would you want to play this Utah team right now? The way that they are is playing some of their best football of the season. They're hot right now. I understand that the run of USF, Temple, Memphis, and Navy is not going to say that ECU is world beaters, but I do think that there's a lot of confidence coming from this Pirates group. And when you get Cincinnati just reaching up to that number 4 spot, coming into Greenville on a Friday, and all they need is kind of a win just to be able to maintain that position. I really like ECU to put a scare into the Cincinnati team. I think last year Cincinnati ran them, but then the year before ended up being a little bit of a high-scoring shootout. Holton Ahlers' first or second season in there as quarterback, familiar opponents. Mike Houston's got the Pirates playing well. You're already bowling for the first time under Mike Houston, and this is a tricky spot for Cincinnati. So 14 points sounds small, but I think there's a reason for that, and I think it's because ECU will be competitive, so I'll take the Pirates.
I can get you ECU +14.5. And I will be joining you because it's lock agreement. It's just it's kind of what you were saying. This is really, for me, it's not Cincinnati being ranked, or I think this is going to be a tough game because I think ECU is playing a lot better now than it was early in the season. Going on the road on a Friday, holiday weekend, it's going to be, packed house, good environment. It's going to be a tough test for the Bearcats. I think they probably win, but I don't think they're going to cover.
The only team to beat ECU by double digits was App in the opener, winning by 14 points. Again, our strength of schedule with this ECU team, they're not in the college football playoff ranking, so I don't get to pull it up and tell you that their strength of schedule is like 108 or whatever it is. But I do think that all season it's been a competitive bunch. So I don't know, man. You trust Cincinnati, and it's on national television too. Woo, boy, Dowdy Ficklin gonna be rocking.
Not to mention all the snipers that the College Football Playoff Committee will have set, with scopes on the field.
Okay, anything else from Friday?
I've got 2 more from Friday.
Okay.
I'll start with another 14.5-point dog. Give me Mizzou. Catching over 2 touchdowns on the road against Arkansas. Like, I know Missouri's defense is terrible. They've looked better on offense the last couple of weeks, but more than anything, this is just, why am I going to trust this Arkansas defense to cover 2 touchdowns? I'm not. So give me Mizzou plus 14.5.
A little bit of confidence.
It's Thanksgiving, it's family spirit, but I need a fight. We need to bring up a political discussion at the Thanksgiving family table just to get everybody riled up a little bit. All right, I'm going to take Arkansas in this spot. You mentioned Arkansas's defense. Missouri's defense is what I'm worried about. And there's something about karma, which is kind of funny because Eli Drinkwitz was asked about the irony of beating Dan Mullen, and he has an all-time quote when he says, you reap what you sow, and if
reap
jackassery, you're going to sow jackassery. I mean, that was pretty bad. And I think, everybody didn't love Dan Mullen. I don't know if I'd be talking that much trash before you played Arkansas. To me, there's a big difference in beating South Carolina and a Florida team, which is completely thrown in the towel, and then all of a sudden going to Arkansas team who's still looking at, hey, we could have a massive season. We get a better bowl game. I think Arkansas playing at home, I think they win. Can I get this at 14, or is it at 14? Is that the best I can get it?
Best I could see is a 14.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take it. I'm not scared. I think they're going to blow them out.
I did bet Missouri here.
That's right, you did.
I'm a little bit scared of this because
go ahead, bud. I need to catch you too. Get in with Tom.
Danny, we could play this thing every single week in the off season, and then there ain't gonna be no catch it, man. But I'm a little scared of this because, like, I am worried about how banged up Bazelak looked in that game, and the run game for Missouri was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lock it up. I did bet him, but I'm not going to put it in his lock.
Does anybody have I look at the North Carolina-NC State game, and it was a you guys figure it out type line from the odds makers.
Which one? Sorry, I missed
NC State, North Carolina. NC State favored by 6, over under of 62.5. It looks like a you guys figure it out type play.
I got the Wolfpack. Lock it up. Yeah. This is one of that, again, it's crazy because I feel like the bowl season mentality, who wants it more, is creeping more and more into the regular season, which I hate because we never really, I don't feel like we had to ask that maybe 10 years ago, but now with players opting out early and what bowl you're playing in seems to matter. NC State, they still are, statistically, are they still in the hunt for the ACC championship game? They could still get in there. So I think they're playing for more. North Carolina, I know it's a rivalry game, but I like the fact that NC State's playing in Raleigh. Dave Dorn has done a fantastic job. Devin Leary, like we've talked about his season this year, I think there's probably a little bit more of a chip on the shoulder of the Wolfpack, and UNC's like, oh, we got to play one more game. Like, just get us to our bowl game, get us out of here. I'm going to take the Wolfpack at home. I think they win by a touchdown or more.
Are we thinking Sam Howell's going to play? And if so, do we think he's actually healthy? Because I made this number like he's going to play.
I would not assume that based on the hits that he has taken, that Sam Howell at this point in the season is healthy. I think he might be available to play, and I think he might go out there. But that boy, like when he didn't play last week, that was very much a load management, rest and recovery. Like let's get Jacoby Criswell out there. Let's get Drake May out there. Give him some looks in front of the home fans. Because this might be his last regular season game, sure. He's an in-state kid. I imagine that he would like to play against NC State. So for your assumptions, like for your calculations, I would say that Sam Howell is probably going to play. But I don't know, man. This NC State defense is tough. If anything, like my only lean here is to take the under, with NC State's defense sort of dictating the way that this game plays out, and maybe keeping North Carolina at arm's length. So I don't hate your play, Danny, but I have zero confidence one way or the other. A Friday night in Carter Finley Stadium just doesn't. It's an eerie spot. I mean, it's not quite the Friday 10:30 p.m. slot on, where anything can happen. It's an alternate universe, but in the context of the greater North Carolina NC State rivalry, this is new territory that we're plowing through right here.
I could see myself firing on a North Carolina team total under tomorrow, potentially. NC State runs the ball way too much. already. They're probably going to see UNC's defenses being bad against the run and be like, oh, we got to pound the ball even more than we already do, which is silly because we're not that good at running it. And we have Devin Leary, who's actually very efficient. And what the hell are we doing? But yeah, I think you guys are on the right sides here.
Turning the page to Saturday, 12 noon.
Wait, I've got one more Friday.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I am taking another under. This one will be, or I'm sorry, this is an over. I'm taking the over 50.5 in UNLV-Air Force. I just think the number's too low. I don't really have trends or anything to back it up. My numbers say that that's about a field goal too high. So yeah, give it.
Whose numbers?
My numbers.
Oh, damn. Fight.
Fight.
A numbers fight?
Yeah.
It's my numbers? Yes.
Yeah, I really, really hate UNLV's offense, like with a passion. I think this thing is going to be like 30 to 14.
We'll see.
All right.
All right.
We'll see.
All right. Now we turn the page. Saturday, noon, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ohio State, now at number 2 in the college football playoff rankings, coming in to play Michigan. They are each 10-1. The Big Ten East title is on the line. The Buckeyes favored by 8.5, over under of 64.5. Am I seeing 23 degrees for this weather?
Let me check. I know it's not going to be warm this weekend. I know that for a fact, but the current forecast for Ann Arbor, temperatures at kickoff would be about 31 degrees.
So
that's Midwest summer.
Anybody gonna make a play on the game?
Let's see what the line is at still.
I am.
Go for it. Get us started.
And go ahead, Tom. You lead us off.
I'm going to get it while it's there. I'm going to take Ohio State minus 7.5.
There's a 7.5 out there?
Yeah.
Wow.
At a certain sports book that also does daily fantasy sports. It is, I think that it's a shame because I think that this Michigan team is better than most, like probably maybe every team Harbaugh's had. I think it's more balanced. I think it's more complete. It does things better. But then Ohio State just kind of entered that Death Star mode in the last few weeks. And now it's like, all right, well, not even this Michigan team is going to be able to hang. Like, I don't think this is going to be another Michigan State game. I don't think it's going to be what we've seen recently between these two where Ohio State's winning by 3 or 4 scores. But I don't think Michigan's staying within 10. So if I can get Ohio State minus 7.5, anything below 10, all right, cool. Give it to me.
Do you guys want to play a game?
Sure.
I've seen Stahl.
Yeah, because this is scary. Let's rank the quarterbacks that Michigan's defense has played so far this year. I know your favorite and your second favorite. Is it Morris from Washington, Rocky Lombardi from Northern Illinois, whoever the hell was quarterbacking for Rutgers in that game? I know they had some injuries there. Was it Graham Mertz for Wisconsin before they shuffled their offensive line and the running back? Taylor Martinez for Nebraska, or Adrian Martinez, whichever one was playing in that ball game. Whoever the hell played for Northwestern, because both their quarterbacks are hot garbage. Michigan State. All right. Probably leader in the clubhouse. Indiana's walk-on. A banged-up Penn State quarterback. Or Talia Tagovailoa without his top 2 weapons. Please
Adrian
rank them
Martinez.
and submit your things quietly. Okay. Adrian Martinez. And I guess second place is Thorne.
Yeah. And then third place is a banged up Sean Clifford. Fourth place. Ooh, this is where it gets real tough.
This is why I'm scared to make this play, but I'm still going to make it under 64.5.
Oh,
because I really don't trust Michigan's passing offense. But I do think that Michigan, they are like number 1 in the country in non-blitz pressure rate, which to me lends itself to an under here, because I think the only way they can really beat Ohio State is to basically see if Ohio State will make some mistakes, drop everybody into coverage, see if they can hold up against the run enough. I think Ohio State will probably run the ball in this game. So I'm going to play under 64.5. But it does scare me a little bit because we've seen Michigan dominate a spreadsheet before defensively. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. Is what they do, does it translate to this game? But I think they're better this year. And I think what they do might translate to this game a little bit. That's why I'm not playing the spread right now, but I'm going to hit the under 64.5.
I got a lock agreement and I got a lock fight.
2-for-1 special.
2-for-1 special.
Again, it's that Ohio State team.
FSU boys staying together. Let's go. It's rivalry weekend. Give me the under. Here's the thing. We're talking about all these quarterbacks. They're the same ones that Michigan has faced too, right? They're the same ones. I'll say this. Who's the most physical team that Ohio State has faced?
That's Oregon's defensive line. Like the count, I was going to follow up and say, what is the best defensive line that Ohio State has faced this year? And Oregon, even with in Oregon without Kayvon Thibodeau, is probably the best defensive line that Ohio State has faced this year.
Yes.
Or Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I do think that Michigan, like this, the run it right at you, like just try to just go at you. I think that's kind of what Oregon's mentality was. And I think they could have some success with that. The other thing, too, is those dudes coming off the edge, with Hutchinson and Jabo on the outside, like that's one way to neutralize CJ Stroud. Like this offense is great, but go look historically at what great offenses have done versus a quarterback who's running for his life or getting hit a lot. I think that could be a problem for Ohio State. I think Ohio State can win the national championship. What's the number up to? What's the highest point I can get? Is it
I can get you 8.5. So we could middle this thing.
Yeah, I'd love to middle it. But actually, no, I won't, because I want to catch you in the thing. I want to catch you. I think Ohio State wins this game. And actually, I'd rather see Ohio State versus Georgia's defense, and I would rather see Michigan try to beat Georgia at their own style. Like, I don't think that's going to work. But I think this game will be close. I think it'll be a rivalry, one that lives up to the name of the game. And I do think it'll be lower scoring. And then you told me the weather. Like, give me that. I like both my sides even better.
We move on to the afternoon. The SEC on CBS game of the week is Alabama at Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Crimson Tide favored by 19.5 points, over under of 56. Anybody got any Iron Bowl plays?
No.
Nope.
I'm not locking it up, but I just feel like in the Iron Bowl at Auburn, the Tigers getting that many points, the play is to take Auburn, because like we've talked about last week, I don't think the drop from Bo Nix to TJ Finley is that big of a deal as far as what Auburn is. It's just, this is a game that gets a little weird, but there's so much other stuff going on right now that I don't want to lock it up, but that's where I would be.
This is very similar to the Cincinnati game for me, with the exception that it's a rivalry and Cincinnati ECU is not. Bama needs style points if it wants to fulfill Denny Cannell's prophecy that it will get in as a 2-loss non-champion. However, it also is thin at some spots and may want, if it does get up, it may not want to go, expose quarterback and those guys because it has Georgia on deck. And how much does it really want to show? So I think Tom is, I don't know. This is tough.
Bama needed style points against Arkansas too.
Oh, couldn't get them.
I would lean Auburn too. It's just hard to pull. The trigger on it for a lock.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Unless Auburn is quitting and is a mess. Which
See that?
Right.
Scenes,
And that's
I could see.
Like, I think this is a good game to live bet, because if Alabama jumped out quick, Auburn throws in the towel. But if Auburn can hang around a little bit, then they believe they can win and the crowd keeps them into it. That's what makes it a little bit dangerous.
Turning our attention to Bedlam, where a couple different things can happen, right, bud? Oklahoma can win by a little, or Oklahoma can win by a lot, as Lincoln Riley, in his short time as the Sooners head coach, has more Bedlam wins than Mike Gundy, who has been the head coach of the Cowboys for more than a decade. Oklahoma is a 4-point underdog. Cowboys favored by 4, over under of 49.5. It's not a very Bedlam-y type total right there, but clearly such a huge game. Oklahoma State already in the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma needs to win this game in order to make the Big 12 championship and keep its college football playoff hopes alive and to force a rematch in this series. Does anybody have a play on Oklahoma State?
I do.
Go for it.
I am taking the under 50.5. I can get it at 50.5. I think Oklahoma's offense is struggling. I don't think we waited for it all year to just kind of show up and do the stuff that it always does. It hasn't for the most part. We've seen it the last few weeks, even since the bye. Last week, Iowa State was able to keep it in check, not, stop it, but keep things close, slow things down. And I think Oklahoma State's got a better defense than Iowa State does. It's what they've built on. It's what they've been excellent at all year. And I think they're going to be able to limit what the Sooners do. And then, of course, none of us are very big fans of the Oklahoma State offense. So I think this is going to be a close kind of Big Ten rock fight instead of the typical Bedlam game that we've come used to seeing in the recent years.
I mean, I said it all week. Boomer Sooner. Give me 4.5.
With the points, too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely like those points. I'm much closer to an under here than I am an over. I think that both these offenses can only really score explosively. Like, neither of them are very methodical. And I'm basically betting. I fully acknowledge Oklahoma's offense has problems, and I think that's baked into the number. I just think Oklahoma's defense is better than people realize.
Do you realize the overall record in this rivalry? 90, 18, and 7.
It's only a rivalry because it's in
They
state.
play
It's
in
the
the
last
same
game of
state.
the year. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and fight, bud.
Fight.
I like Mike Gundy. I like his squad. I think they get it done. I think at some point you got to look at this Oklahoma team and say they are what they are. They're a team that's struggling right now. And facing this defense, Oklahoma State's defense is really good. Like, I like Tom's bet on the under because I do think it'll be kind of an uglier game. Like, I don't trust Spencer Sanders, but I trust him more than I trust Caleb Williams as a true freshman playing in his first rivalry game on the road. So give me the Pokes. Lay those 4. I can get it at 4, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Love it.
Playoffs out there. Well,
Unders in the 40s. That's what it is. It's an under in the 40s. Coming up on the other side, we open up the board. Anything goes. All Saturday picks. Our Week 13 locks. Next. So, we've got a big run of social events that are coming up here between Thanksgiving all the way through the holiday season. And you want to make sure that you look your best. I mean, I know that we've all got our favorite sweats, whether they be from the Cover 3 merch that Danny is rocking right now, whether they be from Home Field Apparel. But look, those sweats need to be put to the side when it's time to get out there and make sure that you are dressing your best, because that's how you feel confident. That's how you stand out. And there's never been a better time to upgrade your look. Indochino's Black Friday event has their lowest prices of the year on suits, shirts, outerwear, and more. Plus, you're going to save even more using the code COVER3. You don't have to necessarily go into a showroom. You can be able to do all of this online. And that's one thing that I love, is that all you need is a tape measure, and the easy-to-use Indochino experience and the online platform will allow you to customize everything that you want. Indochino offers completely custom-fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices. So get a wardrobe personalized to your style and taste without spending a fortune. Measuring yourself on the website can only takes about 10 minutes, and then you can wear the suit right out of the box in just 3 to 4 weeks. Get away from the video calls and get back into looking and feeling amazing. Indochino's Black Friday event runs from November 8th to November 29th. Okay, we're sitting here talking to you on the 24th. Clock is ticking. Indochino.com. Use the promo code COVER3 at checkout to get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com, Indochino.com, and use the promo code COVER3 at checkout for $50 off a purchase of $399 or more. And speaking of that Cover 3 merch, if you're watching on youtube.com/Cover3, Danny Cannell is rocking it right now. We are going to have a Cover 3 merch sale at the CBS store. When the clock hits midnight on Thanksgiving morning, from the moment that the clock hits midnight on Thanksgiving morning to Monday the 29th, the CBS store will be offering 25% off all products. No promo code, no discount code. everything at the CBS merch store will be 25% off. So go and get yourself some Cover 3 swag. And while we're sitting here giving things away, let's do a quick check to see how we're doing on these likes. Let's see. We got a lot of y'all watching, and not a lot of y'all have smashed that like. Okay, here's the deal. If we can get it up to 200, I'm feeling generous. 200 likes. If we can get this up to 200 likes, we will be giving away a Sportsline subscription. Okay? So go ahead and get in there and smash that like button. If you were watching along, we will be giving away a Sportsline subscription. Once we do, I will give you the instructions on how we can cash those in. Okay. Open board, anywhere you want to go. As we sit here, it looks like Chip, it looks like Chip has a lot.
You need to get some going.
Before you go, though, Chip, I forgot to do something earlier. Because Danny's taken Nebraska. I read this was from, and thanks to Chris Felica for retweeting it just now. This is from a couple days ago. I just wanted to read this. It's an obituary.
Oh, yeah. I saw this.
From the Hastings Tribune in Hastings, Nebraska. Former Hastings, Nebraska resident Milton Andrew Munson Jr., 73, passed away Tuesday, November 16th in Grand Island. Memorial services will be 1 p.m. Wednesday, November 24th, today, at Livingston Butler Volan Funeral Home in Hastings with Pastor Joel Remmers officiating. Burial with Hastings Military Honor Guard will be at Parkview Cemetery in Hastings. In lieu of flowers, please place an irresponsibly large wager on Nebraska beating Iowa. Yes. So, Danny, thank you for honoring Milton.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Okay, to review what we've got so far. Tom is on Iowa-Nebraska under 41.5. The Bedlam under 50.5. ECU plus 14.5. He's also got a lock fight with Bud on the UNLV-Air Force total, and he's got a lock fight with Danny on Missouri-Arkansas and a lock fight with Danny on Ohio State-Michigan. I've just got the Mississippi State -1 and ECU plus 14.5. More to come. Danny has Nebraska plus 1.5, the Ohio State-Michigan under 64.5, Oklahoma State -4. We mentioned the Arkansas-Michigan, also thrown in that NC State -6. Bud has Kansas State plus 3, UNLV Air Force under 50.5, the under in Ohio State, Michigan, and Oklahoma plus 4.5. Okay, so we are going to be turning our attention to a couple of little more off the radar games, but I really like my angles in some of these. Number one, Bronco does not want to get embarrassed by a zombie Virginia Tech team. And if you're Virginia Tech, are you like super excited about rolling into Scott Stadium? I take Virginia and I lay the 7. And I got another one, another like easy rivalry one. If y'all, it's on the like very similar lines. Anybody got Virginia Tech thoughts? Okay. Louisville's been playing pretty well right now. Malik Cunningham has kind of been lighting it up in the last couple of weeks. Now, going up against Syracuse and Duke and lighting up the scoreboard is not anything where you can say, hey, this is, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. But in terms of being an all-purpose threat, he's been pretty awesome. And Kentucky right now is going to be coming into Cardinal Stadium, and they are a narrow underdog. I like basically the way the Cards have been playing in the last month or so. Even the losses have been against quality competition, and I think it's a classic case of line too little. The line is too little. We ride with Malik, and we take Louisville, and we lay – I can get a 2.5. Yeah, and we lay the 2.5.
Taking a lot of favorites in rivalry games this week, Chip.
And where are those favorites?
Mississippi, Virginia, and Louisville.
But I'm saying like
at home.
At home,
yeah.
And they are a touchdown or less, all?
Yeah, just saying. Yeah. It's a scary proposition.
I know. Unders and underdogs in a rivalry game would be a starting position. But what about Kentucky inspires the confidence that this is where they got their best game of the season?
I don't know. We might find out later.
That's a tease. Okay, so I've got a couple more on the board. Anywhere y'all want to go?
Take it, bud.
Oh, hey, Chase. Go for
All
it.
right. I'm going to play a team that. Oh, there you go. Nice. What's going on, man?
What you got on your shirt? What's this?
Is that a turkey?
Is that a turkey? Football.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
All right, go for
All
it.
right.
Bud.
Boston College plus the 5. If Boston College can block the opponent, I have pretty good confidence they'll score. And Wake's offense is pretty good, but that's got to be, like they got beat up a little bit by Clemson last weekend. I was pretty impressed with Jurkovec, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and play BC plus the 5 here. I think I'd play it down to like 4.
What was Punt's lock?
I think Punt likes the Deeks, but I don't know if he's ready for a lock.
No, I'm going to lose.
He's not old enough for a lock fight. You have to be at least this tall to engage in a lock fight, especially
Preschool
with our
parlay
system.
cards.
Let's go.
Oh
He's
my God.
actually at the house at the daycare. He is the one who's passing out the parlay cards and collecting. So
Jordan, edit that part out where Bud just shared that $1 million idea.
Yeah. Do you think that Boston College wins?
I think they could. Yeah.
Because if Wake Forest loses and NC State wins on Friday, then NC State is going to the ACC championship. Wake Forest wins, Wake Forest is going to the ACC championship. If NC State loses on Friday and Wake Forest loses at Boston College, the Clemson Tigers will have a shot at their 7th straight ACC championship. Thought it was done, but the Undertaker coming out to just storm back and break hearts once again.
I do have a lock for this game, but it's not on the spread. I am going to be living dangerously, hoping that all those leftovers are weighing on these guys. I'm taking the under 64.5 in this one because last week when Wake was playing Clemson, like the total was in the 50s. And as I said, there's no Wake game should ever have a total in the 50s because you're getting to at least 60. I don't think they'll be getting past 64.5 here because, Bud, this kind of helps you out a little bit too. If you look at the weather for this game, it's going to be really windy, winds of about 15 miles per hour, and temperature is going to be in the mid-30s. I think that is much more typical for Boston College players than it will be for the Wake players. So I think that could have an impact on it. So, yeah, give me the under.
Let's go to the Territorial Cup. And you know what? Do you know what the Arizona Wildcats do, Tom?
They fight and they play hard.
And they play hard. They're not that talented, but they fight and they play hard. And we have questioned the overall motivation in and around the Sun Devils program. This is just a few too many points for and Arizona did some work in the transfer portal, but there's still a lot of that roster that remembers what happened in this rivalry game last year. I think that a team that has fought and played hard under Jed Fish is going to be able to keep this thing interesting. Our total's at 52.5. Arizona State minus 20. Give me the Wildcats and all those points.
I can get you 20.5.
Don Brown may already be introduced as the new UMass coach, but I think he's still got a nice little plan for Jaden Daniels.
It's going to take.
All right, I got one. You good?
Yep.
Anybody else I got one. Who needs more style points than anybody else this weekend?
Cincinnati.
More than them. Cincinnati has
Notre
another
Dame.
game. They got a conference championship game. Notre Dame's traveling to Palo Alto to take on the Stanford Cardinal, who have been atrocious. The only thing that makes me worried about this game is that it seems too easy. Is it only 18?
19 now.
I'll take it at 19. I'll lay it. I think Notre Dame has to just unleash all kinds of hell on Stanford to try to make one last-ditch effort because they're sitting in a really great spot. We've heard the committee say eye test. We've heard them talk about defense now. They need to dominate on both sides of the ball, just like they've been doing for the last few weeks. So give me the Fighting Irish laying 19 on the road against Stanford.
A Glock agreement. Guys, so you can dismiss the Utah loss somewhat because McKee didn't play and it was kind of on short notice. but they also gave up 52 points. Like, they've played 3 teams in a row that I think have rushed for like 800 yards on them combined. You know, Cal went for more than that. Shoot, almost 1,000, because Cal went for 340. Utah ran for over 400, and Oregon State had what, 200 something?
Yes.
So Notre Dame can run the ball with Kyron Williams and those guys. Stanford, I'm not going to say they're quit, but they might be a secretly like they've quit team, or that defense just, they're done. I make this, I have this 38-14.
All right, I got another one kind of picking back off this theme. Who needs the least amount of style points this weekend?
Georgia
playing against Georgia Tech, who did get beat by Notre Dame 55-0. Now, hear me out. If you go back and look at the several games before that, Georgia Tech was a handful for a lot of different opponents. What are they thinking about? Are they worried about the Yellow Jackets? No, they're worried about getting in and getting out of Dodge and getting everybody healthy, making sure you are ready for an SEC championship game. This number is at 35.5. Is that my best number? I think you're going to see backups. You're going to see walk-ons. You might even see them do a Zeb Nolan, let some graduate assistant get out there. Go ahead, get some reps on TV. Georgia Tech has to have some sense of pride out there, but I think this is one where the number is just too big. So give me the Yellow Jackets at home, getting 35.5.
I'm just happy Danny's back because, go ahead.
No, I will also be playing Georgia Tech, but plus 50 live when Georgia gets out to that nice big lead, and the computer doesn't, or the algorithm setting the line in these live games does not account for the fact that Georgia does not need style points.
So I'm just happy Danny's back because he missed out on Vandy last week. Danny finds a 30-something dog. He's taking it, damn it. It's principle.
Yeah, you start with the 36-0 lead. Come on now. All right. There was a game 2 years ago where Minnesota had a chance to win the Big Ten West.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it was playing at home, and it turned into an absolute blizzard in Minneapolis. Wisconsin came in there, ran the ball, played good defense, got out of there with a victory. I don't think it's going to be a blizzard again. And that Minnesota offense with Rashad Bateman, Tyler Johnson, and the 3 Tanner Morgans ago, Tanner Morgan, they needed to be able to throw the ball. This Minnesota team's not that. I mean, it's just not the way that they handled their business. But still, I like Wisconsin to repeat what it did and go in and cover. Yeah. Cover 7 points against Minnesota in one of the most played rivalries in all of college football, as we are Paul Bunyan's axe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. I think the Badgers take care of business and finish 7-2 in the Big Ten. And that would be punching their ticket to the Big Ten championship game. So give me the Badgers, lay the points.
I got you 6.5. Happy Thanksgiving, bud.
Thanks, man.
I'll stick in the Big Ten. It's happening. Yes. Finally. The hat is coming to Champaign. Illinois -6.5. Not just going to beat them. Going to run it up on them because we haven't had the opportunity to do that a lot in recent years. And this year, we've got a chance to run it up on Northwestern. Going to take out a lot of frustration on them guys. Illini -6.5. Lock it up.
Lock agreement.
Yes.
I have this 28-14. Northwestern is garbage. Like, Illinois is not good, but Northwestern is like one of the worst teams in the country. They are not competitive. I'm sure Pat Fitzgerald will take and clip that probably. Like
I know.
The 1 year.
Northwestern by 20.
Yeah. So if you want a stat here for Northwestern, 4 of their last 5 games, post-game win expectancy, 2%, 0%, 0%, 0%. And then 23% was their high watermark there. A game which they were pretty lucky to be within 3 of Iowa. They're just not competitive.
If they don't beat them this year, I'm just gonna cry.
Let's see.
You can alt
Also-
total this thing too, right?
Yeah. Also, Illinois can get to a bowl game if they win this at 5-7, depending on how other things.
You guys
go.
do work in the classroom up there, Tom? That APR score? Look at that.
I mean, come on.
Big
How do you?
Ten.
You got to. We're just nothing but doctors and rocket scientists.
Does anybody have any plays? Because they're huge games, I want to at least get thoughts on them for those interested. Oregon State, Oregon -7 over under 60.5, and Penn State, Michigan State, Penn State favored by 1 in East Lansing over under 51.5.
I'm leaning towards the over in the civil, or what we're not calling it that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the over in Oregon State, but it's not a super high amount of confidence. I don't really like anything on the spread there. And then what was the other one you mentioned?
Michigan State.
State.
Or Michigan State, Penn State. Yeah.
I'm totally staying away from that one.
We have a lean fight, Tom, because I bet the under at 64, 63, and 62 on Oregon State. I think that game should be like 56 because Oregon's got all those receivers out and Oregon State wants to run the ball.
True. Yeah.
I just want to see like somehow can we get the algorithm or the system? Like I want to see it personified as, Bud hits it and the algorithm's like, okay, drop the line. And then Bud hits it again. He's like, okay, drop the line. Cause you just rattled off 3 different times that you hit.
I'll take a video of it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's pretty quick. All right. So Penn State, Michigan, I would not bet this game with y'all's money.
Yeah.
Penn State, Michigan State. Like I have no idea who's going to play for Michigan State.
Exactly.
Top 2 receivers, best 2 offensive linemen, one of the key defensive linemen, one of their best linebackers is in a knee brace. One of their safeties is out. Is Kenneth Walker healthy? Like this is a game I might bet at game time after seeing who's announced in the lineups. But I wouldn't bet this with any of the commenters' money pregame unless you guys have a real strong lean because I had no idea who's going to play. I made my buy points Penn State +3 and Michigan State +7, which is way too big of a range. It's never going to get there. It's basically just to keep me off it.
There's some games that are good for Thursday's show and some games that are good for Saturday night show because sometimes you're making picks and you've got confident, you've got an edge, your numbers might tell you something. And then sometimes you just want to talk about it. And for the $180 million game, I just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about which one of these fan bases is going to be angry when they lose because one of these 2 coaches is going to lose. Listen, a lot of people don't talk about this, but when 2 teams play college football, one has to lose.
What?
Well, did you know what's even more if you listen to college football fans? Do you realize that only one team wins the national championship? I know it used to be 2, but now there's only one. 129 do not, and yet we're firing coaches because they don't win one every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, we are right on the edge of giving out some free Sportsline subscriptions. So if you are watching right now, smash that like button, and we'll go ahead and celebrate with handing some out. I will have the instructions once we break the threshold. Okay. How many more do we have?
I have 2.
Me too.
Go for it.
That's about how many I have.
All right. Well, we're back on Quit Watch, boys. Going back to the well. Thankful for moody teenagers not wanting to do stuff. We are taking Southern Miss -10 at home against FIU, and we are taking Navy -12.5 against Temple because honestly, Temple quit a month ago. And what is the last thing a defense that's already quit wants to face? An option offense with offensive linemen chop blocking them on every single snap. That team is going to tap. Oh, we got more kids. There you go.
It's Thanksgiving week.
Happy
go.
Thanksgiving. But I think Temple taps out about at the end of the first quarter, and Navy just absolutely runs away with it. So Navy and Southern Miss.
We have hit our magical number of likes. So here's what you need to do. Put your Twitter handle in the chat. We will select 5 of you randomly, and make sure you are following Sportsline on Twitter @Sportsline. So go ahead and fill up the chat. with your Twitter handle, and make sure that you are following Sportsline on Twitter. That we will get in touch with you with the instructions on how you can get your free Sportsline subscription. Thanks to all of you who smashed that like. We are very excited to give you this Thanksgiving gift of a Sportsline subscription.
All right, I got 2 more. I'm going to go Clemson. I might have 3 more. Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson's traveling to Columbia. Everybody's excited about Shane Beamer, the seasons he's had. Boy, they feel great about themselves. Well, guess what? Don't look now. Clemson did get in the top 25. They've won 4 games in a row, starting to run the ball a little bit better. DJ's playing with a little bit more confidence. Man, give me Clemson. Lay the 11. Is it 11? 11 and a half?
Yeah, I can get you an 11 still.
Lay the 11. I think you kind of get back to reality a little bit for South Carolina, and this matters for recruiting. So Dabo and Clemson invested in this one. And then I'll go out west. UCLA against Cal. UCLA is playing at home. They just dropped 60 against USC. I'm going to go ahead and take UCLA. I think they get to that 8 wins. I think Chip Kelly can dangle that carrot out for them, and they win impressively against Cal. I know Justin Wilcox has had a pretty good defense, but I think UCLA has their way. So I'll lay that 6.5.
Tigers. Yeah, come on. By the way, Danny and Chip lock agreement's 9-3.
Ooh, ACC
So,
boys.
Let's go. Yeah, Clemson. Clemson needs so many good feels. Like you could just see the way that that sideline, the way that team was responding. Like just to have some real success and feel like everyone is moving in the same direction. Even though DJ Uiagalelei still has yet to be what we imagined he would be if we copied and pasted his 2 performances from last season. I like the way they were running the football with Pace and Shipley. And Will Shipley is special. That dude is going to be a nightmare in the ACC in 2022 and in 2023. Then he's probably off to the NFL. But they got themselves a special one right there.
I got one more. I see a 30+ spot. Our guy Barton's out there just clawing away. They played Ole Miss pretty tough. I know Tennessee's had a great year. It's in Knoxville. Yeesh. I'll go ahead and take the 31.5. Anchor down. Let's go.
God, I mean, you start with the 31-point lead. All you got to do is defend it.
How great would it be if they actually put those up in stadiums? It would be way more compelling for some of these games.
Guys, I got to ask y'all about the game. 5-6 Florida State, 5-6 Florida. Gators favored by 2.5. Over under a 59. Are either of y'all going to lock it up?
I'm going to put a lock on this game that I've not put out there yet.
I've got a lock for this game too. Knowles.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you fighting that? Are you taking the Gators?
No, I'm not. But I am going to take the under.
Oh, that's a good one.
So not really sure how healthy Darius Washington is. Left that game. As you guys know, what's the rule on Florida State? If they got the starting offensive lineman, bet them. If they don't, fade them because they don't have any depth. This has been a pretty profitable principle for us throughout the year. Also, if Mackenzie Milton plays, definitely fade them. But I think you're going to see a big dose of Jordan Travis in this game. If you look at Florida's defense, it is much worse against the run. If FSU makes a bowl, they got like 3 or 4 weeks for Jordan to heal up, so I expect them to keep the ball on the ground a lot more in this game, a lot of QB run. Also, who's the head coach for Florida right now? It's Greg Knox. What position does he coach? Running backs. Man, if your receivers coach is the interim guy, they're going to be chucking it. If the running back coach is the interim, they're going to be handing the ball off to those backs, probably doing a lot more QB run stuff. So for situational reasons, I'm going to be firing under 59.5 here.
Lock it up.
Yeah.
On the total?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saving something. I got,
Okay. I'm
I will be betting alt line FSU, by the way.
What do you mean?
Like I'm going to be betting FSU like -7.5 at like +400.
Just because of just the idea that
If they get up, I think Florida could quit.
right. I mean, that's my thought is that if this if the odds makers are telling us that the numbers say this game should be close, and if Florida is engaged with the close game late in the game, while Florida State has Mike Norvell and a lot of a very targeted goal of being able to go and make a bowl game, I like the Seminoles' motivational edge. I mean, it is basic. Like Danny, you mentioned it. This week is psychology season. It is just like the bowl season. Who wants it more? Noles all day. All right, I'm tapped out. Anybody got anything else?
I got one.
All right.
Get a weather check in Memphis. We are looking at 50. Where's the temperature here? 6.7 mile an hour winds. Looks like it's going to be okay. 53 degrees, so nothing absolutely crazy. Michael Pratt came back for Tulane last week. He put up a bunch of yards and a couple touchdowns. Memphis is not having to block Houston's defensive line. Tulane secondary is atrocious. Over 57.5. I think this line should be like 64. So, yeah, I'm playing over 57.5.
Okay. I mean,
I know it's boring, but
No, it's exciting.
well, we had
at least it's an over, right? Not
Yeah,
just
no,
hammering every single under.
well, we had
the
the
Big 12
allegation that Tulane had quit, remember, from the
Yeah.
live chat, and did not look like Tulane had quit
Nope.
after the way it played against USF. That's for sure. All right, Tom, you clear?
I am clear. I've got money line sprinkles left, and that's it.
Obviously. All right, to review, we have Tom is getting us started with Iowa-Nebraska under 41.5, UNLV-Air Force over 50.5, the under 50.5 in Oklahoma State, ECU plus 14.5, Missouri plus 14.5, Wake Boston College under 64.5, Illinois minus 6.5, Southern Miss minus 10, Ohio State minus 7.5, and Navy minus 12.5. Chip's got Mississippi State minus 1, ECU plus 14.5, UVA minus 7, Louisville minus 2.5, Arizona plus 20.5, Wisconsin minus 6.5, Clemson minus 11, and Florida State plus 3. Spray the board. Danny has Mississippi State minus 1, Nebraska plus 1.5, Ohio State, Michigan under 64.5, Oklahoma State minus 4, Arkansas minus 14.5, Florida State under 59.5, Clemson minus 11, Notre Dame minus 19, Michigan plus 8.5, NC State minus 6, Georgia Tech plus 35.5, Clemson minus 11. That's already up there. UCLA minus 6.5, and Vanderbilt plus 31.5. Anchor down. Bud has Kansas State plus 3. The UNLV-Air Force under 50.5, Ohio State, Michigan under 64.5, Oklahoma plus 4.5, Boston College plus 5, Florida State under 59.5, Illinois minus 6.5, Notre Dame minus 19, and Tulane, Memphis over 57.5. The bad blood here at Thanksgiving at the dinner table. Lock fight between Tom and Bud on the UNLV Air Force total. Lock fight between Tom and Danny on Missouri-Arkansas on the side. Lock fight between Tom and Danny on Ohio State and Michigan. Lock fight between Danny and Bud on Oklahoma State. And then some lock agreement. Very familial here. Chip and Danny riding with Mississippi State minus 1. Tom and Bud riding with Illinois minus 6.5. Chip and Danny also on Clemson minus 11. Danny and Bud on Notre Dame minus 19, and the total under in Florida State. Danny and Bud also riding together on Ohio State, Michigan under 64.5. All right, now we turn our attention to the money line sprinkles. Oh yeah. All right, last week in the sprinkles, we had Tom cashed that FSU of plus 110, took a loss on USF, Oregon, and Illinois. I won Colorado, Missouri, and South Carolina. Danny cashed on Florida State, lost on Oregon, Iowa State, and Nebraska. And Bud, let's see, Virginia Tech lost, and Oregon State won.
Yeah.
So there we go. What are our money line sprinkles? I guess.
Did you see who the new money line sprinkle leader is?
It's me.
That's right.
It's me.
It was me all season, and then Chip just comes right at the end of the year and snatches it from me.
Who, me? Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. ECU money line against Cincinnati. All of the sweats. And look, I saw the commentary as we were discussing the game earlier in the Friday section of the show, and I have had Cincinnati games as a second or third screen position for me. I haven't had the audio on. I haven't had the joy of live blogging any one of these suckers yet. But apparently the entire broadcast is just talking about the playoff, right? The broadcasters are just nonstop talking about this whole group of 5 thing. Well, I'll have that audio on because I want to hear him. I want to hear him wiggle. I want to hear him wriggle. I want to hear him get uncomfortable as they're walking the plank and ECU takes care of business in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. I'm also going to be laying a little sprinkle on the Michigan Wolverines, because if there is a team or a time for Jim Harbaugh to do it, he has started to cross a lot of those. Jim Harbaugh doesn't win in Camp Randall. Jim Harbaugh doesn't win these games on the road. Jim Harbaugh doesn't win these games against ranked teams. You got that renegotiated contract back in January, more incentive laden. Tell you what, the incentives are going to come flowing if Michigan can beat Ohio State, adding to the number of firsts. So while they are different prices, ECU and Michigan aren't quite wouldn't it be hilarious, but it's not far from wouldn't it be hilarious, because we sure seem pretty confident that Ohio State's going to win that game. And I think that Michigan has its best team under Jim Harbaugh and one of its best chances to be able to get a win in this rivalry. And I've got 2 sprinkles and I'm done.
I don't hate it. Can I bang out my 3 and then I got to roll?
Yeah.
I got kids in the car ready for this drive to Hot Atlanta.
I was going to say, let them fill in.
Right. Exactly. They would if I didn't have to go. All right. Give me Florida State on the money line. I had to. Plus 110, I think it is. I don't like it because I think it's a lot of people are getting in on the Noles now. But, man, maybe it's just one of those ones because you have to believe Florida. I mean, look at the different vibes around the programs. Both teams identical records, and yet we're firing one coach and we're feeling really good about another one. I actually like the Noles' chances, but I just think it's going to be one of those effort things because I don't know if we'll see. Give me Michigan State playing at home against Penn State. I know it was ugly against Ohio State last week. James Franklin just gets paid. I still think this Michigan State team is pretty good. I think that was more of a testament to just getting completely just from the get-go just behind. They were not able to do what they wanted to do, which was run Kenneth Walker III. I think he'll have something to say in this game too. So give me Sparty at home as the home dog. And then give me Kansas State playing against Texas. We're supposed to trust Texas 5 losses in a row, make it 6. Kansas State wins in Austin, and the dumpster fire continues to burn for the Longhorns.
Moneyline sprinkle on Texas job change coming in the next 2 weeks.
Wouldn't surprise me. All right, I got to bounce. You guys go. I got to go.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, talk to you guys
See you,
later.
All right, Bud, Tom.
I'll go. I have 4. First one is on Thursday night. It's the Egg Bowl. Give me Ole Miss plus 105 because, Bud, you kind of touched on it earlier in the show. I'm not sure Ole Miss has really been showing all its cards in the last few weeks, and I think Thursday could be a surprise for some. So then another one. Sorry, I know that I think Danny locked up North Carolina State. Give me North Carolina plus 200. Mac Brown, since he's come back to Chapel Hill, has faced Dave Dorn and the Wolfpack twice. In 2019, beat him in Raleigh 41-10. Last year, beat him 48-21. It's a big swing in the spread. Give me UNC plus 200. Then my last 2, Chip, Kentucky plus 130. I don't think I agree with you that Louisville's played better, but as you mentioned when going over your pick, I don't think they've done it against very good teams. And I think that while Kentucky definitely has its problems and definitely has its faults, I think it's probably the best team they faced in a while. I like the Wildcats odds there. And Bedlam, which I expect to be low scoring. And Bud, I know you're on the Sooners. So am I. Sooners plus 172.
Nice. Love it. All right, guys, I have some sicko mode stuff here. Like just absolutely disgusting. First is a team that I have been pretty good with this year, and I'm going back to the well, both against and on. But I am taking Bowling Green plus 195, I think, is the best one I could see out there right now.
Let's see. Yeah.
To upset Ohio. I know Ohio's been running the ball a little bit better, but I think Bowling Green is more likely than that number to get it done, which I guess is the analysis you give for every single one of your picks. Like, yeah, I think this is more likely than the line. Great analysis, bud. All right. I'll see y'all next week. Here's one for you. So Liberty just got absolutely crushed by Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to be up to play
Army?
Yeah.
No.
Army plus 155. Maybe I'm missing something there, which I could be because, like, they didn't play very well last week against UMass.
Especially, too, because, like, what does Louisiana do? Runs the ball. What does Army do? Runs the ball. What couldn't Liberty stop? Anybody from running the ball.
I do think Louisiana's defense is better than Army's defense.
Yes.
And Liberty will have more success being able to move the ball against Army than it did. But I don't disagree with the pick at all.
All right. And then the final one. This is the matchup of the worst two teams in the nation.
Yes.
And I do not think that there is any way. And I was actually pretty encouraged by how UMass played last week. They were supposedly missing a bunch of starters, and they actually gave Army some hell. And in a game that I was angry about because I bet Army because I heard UMass was missing all those starters, and I lost that. Not on the lock spot, but kind of Saturday morning special. I'm going to take UMass plus 200 because why in the hell is New Mexico State? Like, do you guys really trust them? Do you think they should be a favorite of that amount? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, are you betting New Mexico State?
No, I don't bet on the bottom 25 game of the century of the week. It's too much conflicting interests there. This is a bottom 25 playoff game for all intents and purposes because the winner's probably out of the bottom 25 playoff.
Yeah, they might drop all the way to 128th.
Yeah, they might drop to 5th. Yeah.
I don't know. New Mexico State brought me home just, really still running like hurry up, no huddle in a game where they were down like 30 points and a 10:30 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday when the confetti was blowing in front of the cameras out in Nevada. And I just, I got to believe
points on the board.
Yeah, they don't quit. They just keep fighting. But I understand that game, this is not a backdoor cover situation like the Nevada game was. Very different game script. Is that it?
That's it as far as those, yeah.
All right.
Are you guys doing any kind of crazy stuff this weekend?
What do you mean?
Like, this is definitely a quit factor weekend.
Yes.
If there's ever been one. Dropping some other alt stuff. I'm probably going to hit BYU alt, and I'd like for maybe some people to play USC so I can get a BYU team total that's a little nicer too, because I don't really see USC keeping them under 5 touchdowns.
BYU team total over. That is your just lean.
Yeah,
gift.
I'm just waiting to hit it.
Yeah, that is a gem that Bud Elliott just.
If you stayed to minute 77 in this podcast, then yeah.
I will say I locked up the 12.5. I'll probably take like a Navy minus 20.5 alt line.
Yeah.
Alt lines. I just learned about these team totals and first half team totals. I'm not ready for alt lines. All right. Tom's got Ole Miss plus 105, UNC plus 200, Kentucky plus 130, Oklahoma plus 172. Chip's sitting on ECU plus 470 and Michigan plus 250. Danny's got FSU plus 125, Michigan State plus 105, Kansas State plus 130. Bud going with Bowling Green plus 195, Army plus 155, and UMass plus 200. You can follow him on Twitter at Tom Vernelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. We will be back with you live on Saturday night with our Week 13 instant reactions. Make sure that you subscribe not only to the Cover 3 podcast wherever you get your podcasts, but on YouTube at youtube.com/cover3. Smash the bell for notifications, and you will know when we are going live. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving, y'all.